Hey guys, welcome to QA Connect once again. I'm so happy that you are here. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about five common mistakes that we used to do in QA automation interviews and how to avoid these to crack your next interview. So, let's get started with this video. So, the mistake number one that we used to do is giving vague or generic answers. Now, this is very critical for us. So, what we need to avoid with respect to this, like saying I write test cases and find bugs when somebody asks you or the interviewer asks you about your testing process, this is this is too broad and doesn't showcase your critical thinking or specific experiences that you are having. So instead of this, what you can do is you can share concrete examples. Like in my previous role, I designed a data-driven test suite using Selenium and TestNG for our new payment gateway module. This allowed us to cover thousands of scenarios with minimal script changes, and we identified several critical concurrency issues before release. So, this kind of example, when you show in front of the interviewer, it actually reflects your experience in automation and gives a positive impact on him or her. So why it's bad that giving vague or generic answers, it actually makes you sound unprepared and like you don't have practical experience to back up your claims, right? So when you go for the interview, you need to care about this thing. Now the second mistake that we used to do is lying about tools you haven't used. So this is very critical and very important when you go for the interview. Uh, avoid, like literally avoid listing every automation tool or framework you have ever heard of on your resume if you only have a superficial understanding, right? So interviewers will often ask follow-up questions like how would you handle dynamic XPath elements in Selenium, or describe a challenge you faced with API testing using Postman and how you resolved it. So it's very important that lying about tools you haven't used is actually may, going to make a negative impact on the interview. And since you are in an interview, the interviewer will always try to find out how much experience you are having with when you say that you know certain kind of tools and techniques or automation things, right? So be honest. So instead of like lying about your tools, be honest about your proficiency. And if you are learning a new tool, mention that you are enthusiastic about it and actively gaining experience. Like focus on the tools you can confidently discuss in detail, right? Including their strengths, weaknesses, and how much, how you have used them to solve real world problems. In this way, it will actually make a positive impact on the interviewer. Now, why it's bad that lying about the tools you haven't used, you will quickly be caught out, right? Which damages your credibility and shows a lack of integrity. This actually is very, very critical, right? So please avoid this mistake. And so the next mistake that we used to do is neglecting your soft skills. Soft skills means communication, collaboration, problem solving, these kind of soft skills I'm talking about. So neglecting these is not going to actually giving you something positive in your interview, right? So please avoid focusing solely on technical skills and failing to demonstrate how you collaborate with developers, handling the conflicts in the team, communicating complex issues, or approach, right? Problem solving techniques, right? Or QA, QA isn't just about code, it's about advocating for quality and working effectively within a team, right? So you need to remember this thing. So this is like you need to avoid. Now, what you need to say instead, you use the star. You know, what is star? Situation, task, action, and result. So method to answer behavioral question. For example, describe a time you had to clarify ambiguous requirements, resolve the disagreements with a developer, or have to explain a critical bug's impact to non-technical stakeholders. Show that you can think critically, adapt, and work well with others. This shows how much effectively you are actually going to communicate with the team and how much effectively you are actually solving the problem. This actually shows a very positive side of yours. So why it's bad to to neglecting your soft skills, even if you are a brilliant coder or if you're very good in in technical terms with respect to automation, if you can't communicate or collaborate, you won't be an effective team member. And since the interviewer is always actually looking for a person who is always ready to work in a team environment, who can communicate properly, who can adapt the team environment, who can share his or her problem solving skills to the whole team members or to the whole team. So that's why it's very important. So the next mistake that we used to do is not asking questions at the end of the interview. Now, this is also very important. Always avoid saying no. I don't have any questions when the interviewer is giving you or interviewer will give you the opportunity to ask any question at the end of the interview. This is also actually, if you're not asking questions, this is also going to give it's not actually giving the positive impact on the interviewer. So what you need to do is, instead of avoiding not asking the question, you should always have a few thoughtful questions prepared, right? This shows your engagement, interest in the role and company, and that you are thinking strategically. Good questions uh, can include like, how does the team collaborate with developers and product members managers, sorry, here. Another one is like, what are the biggest challenges the QA automation team is currently facing? Like, right. So, in which, where you are going to interview, you can ask these kind of questions. What does a typical day look like for a QA automation engineer in this role? Right. So, what opportunities are there for professional growth and learning within the team? These kind of questions, if you ask, it actually shows like you are so strategically thinking about the role, and you are also it shows actually you are very engaged and interested with respect to the role, and it actually gives a positive impact to the interviewer. So why it's bad if you're not asking? It can be perceived as lack of interest, right? Or lack of engagement or lack of preparation. In any ways, like, you should always be positive towards the role, and you should always show that you are always ready to accept the new challenge or the new role that the interviewer or the company or the organization is actually giving to you. So please avoid this mistake. The another one that we need to avoid is mistake number 5, and that is failing to understand or discuss framework. Now, this is very important, very, very important. If you are an automation engineer or QA automation engineer, even though you are a senior or a junior member in your team, it doesn't matter. What actually matters is how much you know about your framework. And this is very important. So avoid this thing, like just knowing how to write basic automation scripts without understanding why certain approaches are used. For example, not being able to explain page object model, POM, right? Or data driven testing, or how to ensure test scripts maintainability and reusability. So please avoid all these things. It's very important that you should be aware about uh, the framework as well. So instead of this, you should be prepared to discuss common automation frameworks like Selenium or Playwright or Cypress, APM, and design patterns. So in like if you are working in any kind of framework, you should know or aware about that framework very well. So explain how you build robust, scalable, and maintainable automation solutions, even though you don't know about how to how to build a robust, scalable, and maintainable automation solutions. But at least you should have certain idea about your framework and how it has been designed. So you can you if you want, you can study well before going for the interview. And but this is very important that you should be aware about your framework, right? Also, uh, talk about version control, CI/CD integration, reporting, and how you handle common automation challenges like flaky tests or test data management. This shows actually you are currently working and very much aware about the your project. You're so much serious about your project and the automation techniques and tricks, and of course, you are very much into automation. It actually makes a very good impact on the interviewer. So always remember this thing. And why it's bad, it shows, I mean, why it's bad if you failing to understand or discuss frameworks. It shows a lack of deeper understanding beyond just scripting, which is crucial for building effective and sustainable automation. So it's very, very important to, if you are avoiding all these five mistakes that I have shared with you, it is going to make a very positive impact in front of the interviewer. So by avoiding these mistakes, common common pitfall, and focusing on demonstrating your technical expertise, problem solving abilities, and strong soft skills, you will significantly uh, increase your chances of acting like increasing your chance of acing your QA automation interview. So this is very, very important. Now, there's a bonus tip that is from my side, and it's like be always ready for explanation of code on the spot. This is very important because in the interview, and especially in the QA automation interview, don't just assume that the interviewer will not going to ask you about how to code. Like he or she can give you a certain piece of code or certain piece of problem, and the interviewer will always ask you to write certain code. So always avoid assuming the coding challenge will be simple or that you won't have to explain your thought process. So instead of that, practice common coding interview questions related to data structures, algorithms, and object-oriented programming in your chosen language, like Java, Python, or C Sharp, JavaScript, etc. So in my channel, I have already discussed certain questions. I am trying to uh, actually give you the questions. Those are, I mean, I'm trying to upload those questions. Those are generally asked in the interviews with respect to QA automation. So currently, I'm actually uploading the questions. Those are related to Java and Selenium. So you can check my playlist that I have already created with respect to the Java interview questions, and I'm soon going to actually putting some more interview questions. Those are related to Selenium or other languages as well. So just uh, keep updated with respect to QA Connect, and keep yourself updated with respect to QA Connect, and subscribe my channel. Uh, there is so much content that is going to come in near future, and of course, that will be very helpful to the people who are actually preparing for the QA automation interview, or if they are preparing for the automation testing, they want to learn automation tools or something with respect to automation. It's that's the bonus tip from my side. Other than that, I think always be like you should be thoughtful and always remember that every mistake that you make is progress as long as you learn from it. So we all do mistakes. We all uh, do like certain things in our life that I mean when we are learning something new or we are in a process of learning things, we used to do mistakes, but every mistake that we do is progress if we are trying to learn from that mistake, right? So that's it from this video. I'm so thankful to you that you have watched this video till the end. If